and their brushes with the preventive men. Bertie and Walter had listened avidly, as had Rosalind, although Patricia, being 4 years her junior, had usually been tucked up in bed with Raggy, her beloved rag doll. "Are you sure you're all right?" The boy sounded anxious. Rosalind blinked and rubbed her eyes. She had drifted off into a daydream, and her head ached. But now she was back to reality. "Yes, I think so." She moved away from him so that she could study his face. The moon had come out from hiding, and although they were still in the protective shadow of the cliffs, she could make out his features, and she was not afraid. "Who are you? Why did they row away and leave you here?" "I'm just a boy. You don't need to know more. What's your name? And why were you out on your own at this time of night?" "I'll be in trouble if they discover I'm not in bed." "Do you live in the village?" "Not exactly. Where are you from? You sound different to the people in Rockwood." He grinned. "I'm not from here. I can't tell you more, little maid. I need to get away from here before I'm caught." "How will you do that without a boat?" "I'll walk if I have to." "Are you a smuggler?" "You don't need to know anything about me, maid." "I don't care anyway." Rosalind scrambled to her feet, but she swayed as she tried to get her balance, and the boy leapt up to catch her. "I'd best get you home. Do you live far from here?" "No, not really, but the preventive men might be waiting at the top of the cliffs." "They'll be after those who were in the cave. Come on, you can lean on me." They made their way up the cliff, using a path that Rosalind and her brothers had created by scrambling down to the beach without being spotted by the gamekeeper or any of the outside staff. When they reached the top, Rosalind pointed to the dark shape of the castle, which owned the landscape with its imposing presence. "That's where I live, boy." "Then we'd best get you home before you're missed." They walked on in silence. Rosalind knew that sound seemed to carry more easily at night, and if Abe Coker, the gamekeeper, found them, he would feel bound to tell Hester. It would be preferable to be scolded by Mamma than by Hester, especially if she brought Slipper into action. Hester was loving and gentle, but when pushed to the limits, she invoked Slipper, an old leather slipper worn to a shine by its contact, first with Bertie's bottom, then Walter's. On rare occasions, Rosalind had also felt its sting. Patsy, of course, was too young and too easily moved to tears to need such chastisement. "Does your mother work at the castle?" Rosalind stopped at the postern gate and opened it, careful, mindful of the squeal of its hinges if pushed too hard. "Mamma doesn't work, but she used to sing at the opera." "That sounds very grand." "I've never thought about it." Rosalind laid her finger to her lips. "We have to be very quiet, or the dogs will hear us, and then there'll be trouble. Follow me, boy. Don't say a word." "I can't come in with you, maid. I have to start walking." "Your clothes are wet. You'll catch your death of cold. You must come in and get dry." "All right." "We'll go in through the kitchen. Bertie will have left the door unlocked. Just don't tread on the boot, boy. He sleeps in the hall." Rosalind led the way across a cobbled courtyard to the rear of the castle, and, as she had predicted, the door to the kitchen had been left ajar. The vast kitchen, where little had changed over the centuries apart from the addition of a cast-iron range, was illuminated by the glow from the fire. Rosalind tiptoed across the flagstone floor and motioned her new friend to sit down while she cut bread from a loaf she found in the larder and buttered each slice, adding a spoonful of jam, which she spread lavishly. She watched the boy devour the food in seconds, and she cut her piece in half and gave it to him. She poured milk from a pitcher into 2 cups and handed him one. He drank thirstily and wiped his mouth on the back of his hand. "Oughtn't you to tidy up?" Rosalind shrugged. "The scullery maid will do it when she gets up. It's her job. You'd better sleep down here where it's warm. Just make sure you're gone before she starts work." "Thank you, maid. Just tell me one thing." Rosalind put her head on one side, eyeing him curiously. Now she could see him more clearly. She liked the look of the boy from the boat. He was probably a bit older than Bertie, and he was tall for his age, with a mop of dark hair that curled slightly round the back of his head. What struck her most were his eyes, which were slightly almond-shaped, large